Two commercial interior construction firms have been hit with a $10 million fine for rigging bids over 5 years since August 2016. Connect and Tarkus Interiors have until 20th of February to pay the penalty or file an appeal. Singapore's competition watchdog, the Competition and Consumer Commission, stated that both companies violated Section 34 of the Competition Act. Nadirah Zaidi has the details.
12 tenders, 11 companies. Connect and Tarkus Interiors have been fined nearly 10 million Singapore dollars for colluding on bids to secure interior renovation contracts across retail spaces, food outlets and offices. Over 5 years, the two firms rigged a dozen tenders valued at over 34 million Singapore dollars. The amount of penalty was decided based on the annual turnover of the relevant business segment, which in this case is the interior fit-out. A percentage amount not disclosed by CCCS would then be applied on the annual turnover. The final penalty would then be adjusted according to the firm's cooperation with investigations and also if they've had any prior offences. Under Section 34 of the Competition Act, companies involved in tenders are prohibited from discussing prices. However, the two firms stayed in close contact, communicating through emails and WhatsApp.
The two companies would get together and they would communicate amongst themselves and decide who would be the designated winner. Thereafter, they would then decide on the prices, and the designated winner would have a lower price that they would put in, and the other company that is helping them would then end up putting in a higher bid so as to support the bid for the designated winner.
One lawyer says bid rigging raises prices and harms Singapore's consumers, businesses, as well as the economy.
If you have a few dominant players coming to the market and says, this is the amount that we're going to charge for these goods, then consumers have no alternative to that price. And that gives rise to a situation of what we call exorbitant profits to the detriment of consumers.
Affected businesses can pursue legal action against Connect or Tarkus Interiors, but the process is likely to be challenging.
At the end of the day, they need to prove there is indeed a conspiracy to injure these affected companies, i.e. making them pay way above market value, way above market price, to which they're not getting value for the services.
Looking ahead, Mr. Lam notes that Connect and Tarkus Interiors will need to make major goodwill efforts to rebuild trust and mend their public image.
We now turn for the legal perspective on this story, and joining us for that is Justin Chan, Managing Partner at Justin Chan Chambers. Mr. Chan, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So both firms charged under Section 34 of the Competition Act. Explain to us briefly what this section covers and what it aims to prevent.
Oh, wow. It covers all manner of sins. It's very wide, and essentially it's designed to prevent any sort of competitive activity. It ensures a free and open market, and in relation to, the competition is defined as agreements, discussions, concerted practices. It's very wide.
Could you also shed some light on the powers that are granted to the officers under this law when conducting such investigations?
Yeah. Powers are wide-ranging. So an example is occasionally I get called at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon and I have to run down to some warehouse in Tuas where already like 13 CCCS officers are there and like sort of opening the cupboards of my client's office. They will seize your laptops, they will seize handphones, they will be cloned. And they use an electronic discovery system with keywords to sort of like pluck out. It could be emails, it could be Word documents. So yes, pretty draconian.
Are there any restrictions for them though?
If you claim privilege over a certain document, it's confidential.
Okay.
Then then they might not use it.
Tell us a bit also about how this law views whistleblowing.
Good question. It facilitates it for sure. I mean, if you're a whistleblower, you definitely your name will be kept confidential. You know, it will be made easy for you. But in another way, they have what is called a leniency application, which means that if you think you are engaged in cartel activity and you blow the whistle, so to speak, on the other members of the cartel, you can receive 100% immunity. In this case, you see that they didn't receive the 100% because they only came forward after the investigation started.
Right, and so as we know, bid rigging is an offence, yet these two companies, they were fined rather than prosecuted in court.
Right.
Can you explain to us why that is the case? Why was there a fine imposed by the government?
Well, it's just our judicial construct, really. So, it's not your usual criminal case where it's heard in the courts and you have jail time or whatever involved. The difference is the CCCS in this case has been granted the powers under the Competition Act. So they are the prosecuting body. That's the only difference.
Well, what do you think the implications would be from these two cases?
Well, I think definitely a healthy amount of caution for the tenderers in any bid. There is, I think it's stated that the concern that some of their customers may come forward, to sue them when it comes to the concerted practices that they had. So I think that's the knock-on effect personally for the two firms. And it's unfortunate they have to spend a lot of time, to rebuild customer confidence.
And speaking of, knock-on effect, how does bid rigging actually impact the everyday people? I mean, what are the broader consequences for the public here?
Yeah. Well, I think for one, we don't get the best bang for your buck. We have it prevents you receiving the most competitive price that there is. That's for the common man. And, well, I guess it's a question of degree. I mean, we could end up with a monopoly where a select few dictate prices. And, we are showcased as a good place. Singapore is a good place to bring your business. And I think that's the gist of what's happening.
It is, and the Competition Act also aims to prevent businesses from colluding, and you said forming a cartel. What are the potential risks to Singapore if such practices go unchecked in the long term?
Like I mentioned, Singapore, our leaders pride our country as a good place to bring your business. Like foreigners come live, work, play in Singapore, bring your businesses. So I think that would be the effect. It might have a cooling effect on the amount of business coming in the borders.
What lesson do you think the business community will take away from this case?
I think caution. There's a price to be paid for the market that we get to do our business in. And, sometimes you only have one reputation to lose.
All right, and we're definitely helping companies to avoid falling into similar illegal practices in the future.
Yeah.
Mr. Chan, thank you very much for speaking with us tonight.
Thank you.
That was Justin Chan, lawyer and managing partner at Justin Chan Chambers.